Now, in this video, we will create persistent volume and persistent volume claim. But before that, let's download the Kubernetes object definition files from the GitHub repository that can be used to deploy all the necessary Kubernetes objects required for our WordPress application. This is the repo which you can clone for the rest of this project. Now we will create a storage volume for our WordPress application. And to get this volume up, we need to create a persistent volume claim first. Google Kubernetes Engine has a default storage class resource installed that lets us dynamically provision persistent volume backed by persistent disk. We can use the WordPress volume claim.yaml file to create the PVCs required for the persistent volume deployment backed by persistent disk. This YAML file describes a PVC that requests 200 GB of storage. A storage class resource hasn't been defined in the file, so this PVC uses the default storage class resource to provision a persistent volume backed by persistent disk. From the terminal, deploy this YAML file with a kubectl apply command. The PVC will be created within a few seconds. Not only this, a persistent volume will also get created that has been claimed by this PVC. We can check the existence of persistent volume claim with kubectl get PVC command. See, there is a PVC called WordPress volume claim, and it's bound to this volume. If we run kubectl get pv command, then we can see the details of this volume within the cluster. We can also see the details of this persistent volume with kubectl describe pv command, followed by the volume name. Here we can see the status of the volume itself, which is bound to WordPress volume claim PVC. We can also see the reclaim policy of this volume, which is deleted. It means if the persistent volume claim is deleted, then the associated persistent volume and the underlying persistent disk will also get deleted. There are also other reclaim policy which retained. Retained means when the persistent volume claim is deleted, the persistent volume will still exist, and the volume is considered as released, though it will not be available for another claim immediately because the previous claimant's data remains on the volume. An administrator can manually reclaim the volume. Here we can also verify that this persistent volume is bound with a PVC called WordPress volume claim. We can also see the details of access modes, storage capacity, storage class, etc. So we have a cluster up and running, and within that cluster we have persistent volume. In the following video, we are going to provision GCP's very own database service called Cloud SQL, which can be used to store database for our WordPress applications.